play this real quick. Fiddles can pick either number. Since I don't have any bases, maybe a couple of you can catch the bass line. But just to drive home the point that, again, what we do is has a super high standard, and there's not a whole lot of room for missing. There's really not a lot of room for missing. And in every other class, if you got an A-, you're doing great. Unfortunately, if you're getting an A- here, is what it sounds like. And I think if parents understood that, they'd be more excited about having kids in music. They really understood what that meant. So I like doing this with kids, and I did this at a concert, and it was kind of fun. So are we ready? We're doing the A+. This is the A+ playing. So obviously play all right now. A+ playing. And again, to give credit where credit's due, this is Jack Sam on the end. Practice find your note's best friend, and then they find the octave, and they learn how to find the fifth. Guess what? It's a lot easier to what? Actually tune your instrument, because they already know what a fifth sounds like, right? Yes. All right. Here we go. A+ line. 1, 2, 3. Good grade with 90%. This is what 90% sounds like. This is what 90% sounds like. 1, 2, 3. good grade. Okay. So I was at Terry's school, and she threw this thing at me about, it seems like you just had a great relationship with kids. We talked about that, and it was kind of funny because that actually is a lot of what this is about, this idea about creating an environment in your classroom. A learning environment, a music learning environment in your classroom. And everything I talk about, I think, has a lot to do with how kids respond to you and how they'll decide that, yep, I'm going to do this, and I want to do this. I think you have to understand that it really just first belongs with you. Okay? The environment and what's happening in your room is your responsibility. And I think sometimes we think that kids, that kid's really struggling, all that kind of stuff, that it always got to turn it back to, this is what's happening in my room, and it is my responsibility that for this kid to learn. I once had a director tell me, you know what, if your kids get a 2 at contest, it's your fault. Really? It's my fault if they get a 2. And is that 100% true? Well, come on, there's tons of variables going on in your room, right? There's kids that got issues, there's kids that come in wasted or whatever in high school. I mean, there's issues that are going on. Is it really my fault? Even if it's not true, I like to pretend that it's true. Okay? If I pretend that it's true, it really gives me a mindset that this is important. So I try to do that for myself. And I try to have that attitude. It helps me be engaging with students, helps me to be hardworking. I love this comic. So there's a guitar guy down here, or actually here's the old music teacher, right? Sees a guitar guy on the street. Says, "So Clarence Diggs, I thought, y'all know Far Side? It's been a while, right? Okay. I thought it was you, never learned scales or modes. You did, you young man. You just screwed around in class all day, as I recall. Now look at you, you tone-deaf little weasel. Ah, what's that chord you're butchering?" And the kid, he's looking at him, oh my God, Mr. Blanchard, my old music teacher. I want to be like that. In a sense. I want to be like that. And what I mean is, never give up. Now, he's making fun of it. I do that a lot. I'll make fun of it. But the point is, I'm engaging you as a student in my room. I'm engaging you. And I'm always on kids about stuff. You know, this is not happening because you got to put in more effort. I'm always doing that. And so I want to be old and retired and barking at old students. I really do. This is what I'm hoping will happen as I get going. We had another talk I could do is about chamber music and the importance of chamber music and infusing that into your program, which I did at a conference last year. 6:45, kids come into our building. And by the way, we're a music department. That means band, orchestra, choir. And we're all in this together. And we're a music department. I love that. Absolutely love that. And at 6:45 in the morning, you can stand in the hallway at our school, and I had string quartets, woodwind quintets, brass groups, Dixie bands, jazz choirs, 2 jazz choirs. And we would have a good 75 kids in our end of the building doing music. 6:45 in the morning. Had a CSU, Colorado State University prof come. He's a brand new prof. He'd come to work with a teacher. And he's standing around, he's listening, and they're all in our practice rooms. And he's listening around, and he says, "What a great culture of music you got." It's a really professorial thing to say, but yeah. We got a great culture of music. What I really liked was the electrician that came the next week. No joke. Stood in the same spot, he's grinning from ear to ear. It's like 6:45 in the morning. School starts at 7:30. And he said, "What are they doing?" I explained it to him. It's like one big jam session. Yeah, I like that. It's one big jam session, and it really is the environment of our school. And understanding that it's healthy. That's the big thing. So just some ideas. Here's a simple fix, I think. What do you think of when you see that? I'm amazed at some classrooms I go, not this one, but some classrooms I go in. I was amazed by a teacher friend that I had that I adored, thought was a wonderful teacher, but drove me nuts. He's the only man I knew that would pull out drawers on his desk only so he could have more surface area to throw crap on. Okay? And really it wasn't much different than that. And it's amazing what I see. There's a couple of things. Okay, I'm a professor, so here we go. Maslow and Mintz. There's a study. Found that your environmental settings influence the way people think about you. Really? That's amazing. They showed photographs of people and they had to mark stuff. They put them in a beautiful room and an ugly room. I don't know what that means. But when they were in the ugly room, they kind of marked them low. When they were in a beautiful room, they thought that person had more energy and more well-being. Same photograph. It's interesting. Russell and Moravian saw that people are more apt to socialize and to affiliate with one another. Okay, high school, they socialize just fine. Affiliate, maybe not. It is interesting in our room how we've got kids from all walks of life. That's the neat thing. And you really see it in high school, more so than maybe others. You still see it, but all walks of life. And you want them to affiliate. You want them to be a cohesive group. And they found that people do that when the environment was pleasing, whatever that means. I think when I see really, really dirty, I think unorganized and just really don't know what you're doing, for me. Why do you think Disney looks like that? They want your money. That's the bottom line. They want your money, don't they? Right? And you're not going to go to Disneyland if the streets look like that. You're going to say, man, I could eat breakfast off this brick. Right? So does it mean you have to be spotless? I don't think so. You just have to be tidy. I have stacks on my desk, of course, and there's times when things like this, especially musical. Oh my word, I would have stuff everywhere. I'd get behind. But I don't think it was ever like dirty. I mean, I was always picking up kids, making kids pick up themselves. I had this awesome kid. He was great. Cello kid last year. He's a freshman. They didn't know him a whole lot. Had severe ADD issues. Severe. Not in the sense that he was disruptive in my class, but wow, literally 10 seconds and he's gone. And I was always trying to engage this kid. And one of his ways of just staying busy was to destroy a pencil every day. Oh man, you must go through pencils every day. He gets out and he tried to leave. Like, It's like, I'm fine. If you need to destroy a pencil in my room, that's fine. But you're picking it up. Just bottom line. I think kids listen to you when you're organized, right? I think kids listen to you when you have a room that looks organized. I just think it's important. For me, I would set up chairs. In a way, I thought of it as I'm serving the kids, right? Because in a way, they're my boss, and I want them to learn today. And every day they come in, I'd have the chair set up for them. And I know I had parents all the time. You should have the kids do this. Like, I felt like that was my job because I want them to come in. You know what happens when they come in? They walk through that door. Get off your phone, get your stuff, sit down, and start warming up. Because it was like, for me, it was always a fast-paced. We got stuff to do today, every day. There's no slowing down. Get in my room, get your stuff, sit down, get going. And if the room is set up ahead of time, they knew right where to go. And so, for me, I would do that. I thought kids appreciated it. I can tell you what, if I saved 5 minutes of class time, right? And that's in my world, that would have been 20 minutes a week. That's a lot of time. I can get stuff done. So I like to do that. I also think that your room needs to be welcoming. Having a few posters, consider plants and all that kind of stuff, clean chairs, clean stands. I had a Tri-M. Does anybody have a Tri-M organization from MENC? I get it. From NAFME, NAFME. Nobody? Tri-M is really cool. It's a organization. I would assume middle school kids could do this too. Yeah, I think they could do it. It's an organization that's an honor society for those top kids. It's yet another thing for them to do, but it's music oriented. It's through NAFME. It's really kind of cool. And Tri-M kids, I was always giving them projects because they were the leaders. And one of the projects, I had the old metal Manhattan stamp. And I got rid of the winger ones. Those drove me nuts. But the Manhattan ones, and of course, my guitar class. get done. Oh, you didn't pay a whole lot of attention today. There's an interesting looking plant growing on there. So, I would have them spray paint it and stuff. And I tell you what, if kids are spray painting stands and they're keeping them clean, guess what they do when they see a kid even try to start writing on a stand? Yeah, they get upset about it too. So hey, for me, those are the things that are important. You know, if your school has some history, you should talk about it. I love this room. There's a lot of history here and some photos and stuff. But if you've got really old history, even if they look like a Motley Crue like that, put it up on your wall. Because why? People want to be a part of something that is bigger than themselves. They really do. Living overseas, you really know it. You know why? They want to be like us. I don't know why. But they want to be like Americans. They want to know English, and they want to know what it's like to live in America. Even Germans who are in a very wealthy country, it's amazing. They want to be a part of something that's bigger than themselves. And your kids in this room too. I know about Dobson High School because I did an adjudication here many years ago, and I was just blown away with the performance of these guys. So I'm not surprised with all the accolades. And that's history. You know, you walk in the room, it's history. Even if you got a brand new program in a brand new school, you still could do history because you got kids that will be successful at things. All right, and so putting that up is, I think, important. Having some history. Having a senior wall, I think it's kind of cool, and having senior pictures, and just a little spot, wherever that is. Kids love to give you a senior picture, all right? And if you've got a middle school, you know, that last group of kids, you know, I'd like a picture of you. I want to put it on the wall, because they really want to be a part. Again, what do they want to do? They want to be a part of something. And all of this helps when you stand on that podium, when they feel like they belong, it helps. When you stand up there and you start talking to them, it makes them think, I really need to listen. I really need to focus on what's going on. You know, it helps them understand that they're part of the community, and I got to do my part in that community. Some other things, just consider some art, some artwork on your walls. I wish I had, you know, I'm doing a presentation, so I found this one. I wish I had a big blow up with the real one, because it would be, look, stop playing like that. I love his artwork, I love it, but it would have been also a great teaching tool moment. But just some nice arts and things like that. Of course, always with kids. I had a kid who was great, and I was talking to her. She was going to go into art, and I thought, you know, before you graduate, would you do this kind of cool little mural? And I gave her an idea of what I wanted, and she did this for us, and this was my letterhead. This was my letterhead for school. And then a few years went by, and we had some big guru come to our high school to talk about, you know, the culture of the building, and he was talking about murals and stuff. So I went up to my principal. I said, "So are you serious about putting murals up on the wall?" He said, "Yeah, that'd be cool." I said, "I want this on my wall." And I had another group of kids that were into art who put that up on my wall. And when the kids walked in, it was really neat. We had two main parking lots. One on the north end by music, and one on the south end by the athletics. And half the school, 3/4 of the school, likes the north end parking lot. And guess what they do? They walk through music. Every day they're walking through music, and they're always walking through this, right? It's culture, and I know those music kids were really kind of proud about. This is who we are. Had some kids do some stupid, I don't know, they drew on it or something, and I had another kid all on her own came to school. And I saw her in the afternoon, and she was cleaning it up. And I thought, I didn't even ask her to do that. And she was just really proud about who she was and her school. And so doing those kinds of things. Also, I love quotes, and I'm always quoting stuff. This is one of my favorites. Music to magic, far beyond all we do. Albus Dumbledore. And I would have that on my wall. So I had a couple of seniors, before they graduated, they put that in my music theory room, so I taught an EP theory class. And that's huge, so you walk in there. Or I love little quotes and things like that. I think it helps kids understand that there's a real good culture here, culture movement. You also might consider a special project. You might have a room where you can do something kind of neat and different. This room is the worst possible recording situation you could have. It has opposing walls and it's a cube. I don't care. I'm in a high school. I wanted a recording studio. It was the one place I could kind of make one. So it was full of music with filing cabinets. Okay, young teachers don't do this. I was tenured, I'm an old teacher, and you get to the point where principals listen to you, okay? So I just moved the music to another place. Don't ask me where. It's somewhere else in the building. And I would do this. I had a student teacher, and I would run down the hallway so people wouldn't see me, and I put all the music in another place. Why? Because I painted this room. I made these panels, and we made a recording studio. It gave me another rehearsal space, and the kids loved walking into that. By the way, our colors, as you can tell, were gold and purple. I would never paint a room gold and purple, but it's our school colors, so we did that. And I did all my All-State recordings in there. Chamber music, I'd give them a CD of what they did all year long, and had a recording studio. And I was on a learning curve. I had to learn, how to use Pro Tools board, and got a fancy computer, and it was mostly donated. So having a real special room like that, or a special project like that, again, is all of this culture of, this is a cool, special place. I think kids really react to that. I like to be purposeful. Everything I do, when the bell rings to the next bell, there's always a sense of purpose. This is my time with you, and we've got stuff to do. And I always had this idea, and even if I thought 5 minutes before rehearsal, okay, here's what I need to get done today, there was always just a sense of purpose. We got stuff to do today. And I rarely start at the beginning and go to the end. I usually worked on something, and then I put it into context and go to the next one. Part of my problem, and it was because I don't know about you, I really dislike the block schedule. And I always would fight the block schedule. And then our school, because of me griping about it, why? Because I want my kids every day. As much as I can, I want them every day. Why? It's hard to figure out how far apart a whole step is. That's a hard thing to figure out. And every day I want to say, doggone it, yesterday, you're flat. Will you fix that, please? Just being engaging in front of those kids, and every day is like, okay, every day. So we did a hybrid, finally. Every year this comes up, so I got a hybrid. So it was a Monday, Tuesday, Friday we do 8-period days, and Wednesday and Thursday we did block days. And so it was always, I had these 45-minute classes. They were short because they were 8-period days. And it was always just this sense of purpose. I got a lot to do with you today, and you need to come in and listen. We got stuff to do. And always be engaging and being in front of them. So go to bell. Also, a warm-up. Oh, that's the rehearsal. A warm-up. A warm-up that is purposeful, a warm-up that has reason. And in your packet, I gave you mine. I sell these on my website, too, if you're interested. I actually encourage you to just make your own. Just find what is really important. That's the high school version that you got in there. I also have on my website a junior high version that's a watered down. It's the same kind of thing. So I just have what's really important. What are the fundamentals that I want to work on every day that the kids in my room, that they come in and this is fundamentally what they want to do. Now I love Michael Allen's warm-ups. I used to use them. They are really long. And I used to do them every single day from start to finish. And then I went to a workshop with him. And somebody said something, he said, well, I don't do the whole thing every day. Well, that makes sense. That takes a long time, So, but for me, I realized I got 45 minutes. I need something that's a little bit shorter, concise. What's super important to me? So when you look at that, long tones, they're important. Sol si le, that's important. Really working that out. Hand frames, just 4 main ones. All whole steps, which is really hard for bass to do. Because then I do thirds, kind of stupid. That's okay, I can do it with that. So I run all whole steps, then I run this one, then I run that one, then I run that one. And I run it in thirds, and I do all that kind of stuff. Then I shift. So I do spot, shift. The second page is, 3-octave scales, major and minor. Don't forget minor, minor's important. And then all bowing. All of that you see on that second page are all about bowing. What I thought were really, really important. The most important one, I think, is the frog one. When kids see an up-bow sign, you know what they think? The tip. It drives me nuts. What do you mean the tip? It means go up. And you know what? How often are we at the frog and we do what? We go up. So frog, up, down, frog, up, down. So that was one that was important to me. So I put that in there. And then we finished with the chorale. The chorale, just a quick funny story. I taught Germany for 2 years, do my warm-ups, perform in front of the kids, which high school there was through 13th grade. At the time, they dropped it down to 12. It's really weird to talk to a kid who's rolling a cigarette in your classroom. The teacher in me is just like, you can't do that. It's weird. Anyway, it's a story. And so, I'm teaching, and I get to the chorale, and Marika, violas, raised her hand. She says, Dr. Spieker, why are you playing Christmas music already? That's a Christmas music? Culture is really fun. If you ever get an opportunity to do some culture differences, it's really fun. So we play Christmas music every day in my room with the chorale, and then that goes to your ear. So anyway, having a warm-up, I think, is really important to get things going, and something that's very, very purposeful. It's got to be. My kids, I would start, we tune. I always did basses first. Basses first. You tune first. And tune an A and only an A. Then stop. Okay? And then cellos, and then violas, and then violins. And once all of your A's are tuned, tune the rest of your instrument. And then, here we go, long tones. Now, what was really nice about long tones is that kid that still can't quite struggling with that, you can really hear it when you do long tones. And the strings that are false, because they're old, it really can help you with the long tone. And then jump into, I forgot chromatics. I got that from the from the band world. Now, why did we not do chromatics? That's really helpful. So anyway, warm-ups that are purposeful and get kids going. My kids memorize. I tell you what, after 3 years of doing this, memorize, and all has purpose. And I still bark at them. Say, Joey, that is a frog, and I've taught you that there's a reason why I have that in there, and you have got to learn how to do that. And I'm tired. This is the third year in a row, and your retake looks like this. I'm tired of that. It means the frog. It means the frog. It means the frog. So there's a sense of purpose to it. I had a gentleman come and work with my kids in high school, and he said, here's the best thing I heard all day were your warm-ups. I guess that was a compliment. But it was memorized. I mean, and they knew it. And it all had reason for being. Okay? So it had a purpose to it. When I stopped, let me do this. Again, I had a fast-paced rehearsal. I had issues. I had things to talk about. When I stopped, here's something I always did, just to be engaging with kids, is that I would stop, here's an issue, work on the issue, get it 3 times good, and let's get going. The other thing I would do is I was really good about stopping and saying, little Joy, I have been on you to get at the frog, and you know what? You did it today. By the way, talk about kids. Yeah, you can address a group, but talk about individual kids when it's a compliment, especially. That's okay when it's a compliment. I will call out kids. Most of the time, I would walk up to them, stick my nose against their nose, and try to get them to understand that I'm tired of this, And every once in a while, when I'm on the podium and there's 50 people in front of me, I might call them out in class. You know why? Because I've personally, privately, I've tried to get you to figure this out. But I was really good about complimenting the group. So, we've worked on that. It's really gelling. I like that. We've worked the end of that phrase. We've worked that tuning. I really like that. So I got really good about complimenting and then fixing one thing. Now, sometimes that one thing will be over here and over here, but that kid's only thinking about one thing at a time, and then go back and try it again. I think sometimes some of us are really good about spitting out 5 things that need to get fixed. And that's why it gets confusing after a while with kids, which is one thing at a time. And if you haven't noticed now, I think it's so important to be insistent. Be insistent. You don't know, Calvin's my favorite comic. I'm done. See you tomorrow. This is me. That's me. What? No. I think I'm a better judge of what I'm hearing. No, they don't. They think they can play something wrong 5 times in a row. They get it right once, and they think they're good. And we all used to think that. And we know that. For every mistake, I had one person say, for every mistake, you got to play it 5 times right. Oh gosh, I've made 5 mistakes. Do your math. That's a lot of times of getting it right. So being insistent. I think young teachers give up way too soon. give up way too soon. I'll see them do it. I have a student teacher, and I watched him work, band guy, watched him work with some kids, and it got a little bit better, and he was good with that. And I learned not to be that way. I'm sorry. You know, if it's going to take us 20 minutes today to really get it, I mean really get it, then I'm going to take 20 minutes to do that. I'm going to be insistent. I insist that you learn that. Why? Because you chose to stay in my room. Okay? Why? Because you auditioned to be in this group, and I insist that you do this. I think it's important. And again, I think young people especially just kind of let it go. Being engaging. Oh, let me talk about, here's an assistant. I had a class that absolutely would not learn their scales. Whatever reason, they just thought, I ain't doing that. And I'm like, yes, you are. You know, it's this constant fight. You know what I did? I put scales on the concert. Why not? Why not? And I told the parents, I said, you know what? I want you to know that we are working really hard on this, and you're going to listen to us play our scales. That's what they learned. Okay. Right? Because I'm a teacher first. I'm not a performer. We're not the Berlin Film. Okay? I'm a teacher first. And I want them to learn this. And I'm tired of them thinking that it's not important. It is important. So, and that's, I think, being insistent. Also, be engaging. Another little quick comment. Calvin. No passing zone. Poor guy. My favorite compliment, and I would get this from time to time. I just think it's because I was just like this all the time with kids. My favorite compliment is hearing Adam Berry stand up and say, "Man, this class goes too fast." I love that. I love that because there's none of this going on. Buzzword last year. How many of you, and maybe this worked its way down here to Arizona, but in Colorado, my district anyway, the buzzword last year was, you need to be engaging with kids. You need to be engaging with kids. You got to engage them, you know. And I remember thinking, that's all I do all day long. No wonder I'm tired when I go home. Because I'm engaging kids. So what is that? I had a guitar kid. I taught a guitar class, a whole other talk. I love teaching guitar class. And so I had this whole other talk, and he decided just to not play. And I stopped the whole class. I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm tired. I said, put your guitar up and you're going to, you know, and I do my thing. And he kind of looked at me like really shocked. And I go, why are you shocked? And he, well, nobody makes me do stuff. Right, like in math, they don't make you do, he says, no, I put my head down. I'm like, you've got to be joking. Really, you got to, it really is a big, important word, to be engaging. And so I went up to my principal, I said, I'm sorry that I don't understand this because I feel like I'm doing this all. He said, oh, you're doing it all the time. My principal was a great man, was very supportive, terrible with words. He once told our entire school over the PA system to go to the football game, and I want you to be raunchy. I think he meant raucous. I don't think he meant raunchy. You know, so he looked at me and says, oh, you don't have to worry about being engaging. You have it up the wazoo. I'm like, stop talking. But he understood that we're engaging. Why? I can see you doing it. You can't hide behind the stand. I can see you doing it. So just being engaging. So my class, I hope, was never like that. I don't think so. I really, really worked on it. So what does that mean to be engaging with kids? You might be the nicest guy in the world, but or gal in the world. But I'm constantly amazed that when I watch teachers, I think sometimes some people, not everybody, forget things like brushing your teeth. Okay? Personal hygiene. Yes, I'm talking about these things. It's really amazing. And kids notice. My wife got a phone call from one of my students. My students would like to give me gifts at the end of the year. Sue Wong, she's now a physician. And she said, Mrs. Spieker, can I give Dr. Spieker a gift? And she's like, yes. Well, what do you want to give him? I want to give him a new belt. His belt is really... My belt is all ratty and old. I mean, kids notice these things. And you know what? When you're trying to talk to them and all they can see is your belt's ratty and old, I mean, you're not being very engaging. It's kind of like the Emperor's Groove. You know, remember that movie? I love the Emperor's Groove. Remember when the Emperor's talking to that really old woman, and she's talking about the problems of the kingdom, and what's he doing? He's commenting how old she is and all the things that are going on. And what's that between her teeth? She's got like food in her teeth. I really think people forget about this. It's just simple. Just take care of yourself. I was always, and I am a tie guy or a coat guy. I always dress up, and just for me, I think it helps, and I think kids get past that very quickly. So for me, that works. Also, you got to learn how to use humor. Humor relaxes your classroom. I love mixing in humor with just being intense, because I'll be intense about something, and then I'll just tell a story. And you get to see them. They're really fun. And then it was a nice way to break up, especially with block days, 90 minutes. I never took a break, ever. I'm sorry. I know you've been there for 90 minutes. I don't care. We have stuff to do. But I think when I did that, I think it's kind of, you know, put the instrument on your lap and you're able to relax a little bit. And it will relax your classroom. There was another study by Gruner who studied that humor gives somehow you more character. He decided, okay, these people. I do know this. Kaplan and Pascoe found that humor helps kids learn things, remember things over the long haul. If you say something that's funny to them, that makes sense to them, and especially when it's applied to what they're doing, they'll remember it for the long haul. If you struggle with humor, I want you to consider being like Seinfeld. And that's an old show that maybe you didn't ever get to watch it. What made Seinfeld so stinking funny was the guy or the show laughed about everyday human things. Everyday human things. And it was just absolutely hilarious. And I learned for me that I make fun of myself with the silly things that I do. Or the silly things that would have happened to me. That's what they did all the time. This is what the whole show was about. I walked out to put away the trash. I scared a bird. It pooped on my shirt. I had to run in and change my shirt, and so I'm not late, you know. I'd tell the kids. Of course, I'm like this about stuff, and I say, you know what happened to me this morning? It's fun. It relaxes the room, and it really, really, really helps. Especially when it's yourself. Here's a little bit crass, I'm sorry for this, but it happened to me. I'm teaching, and I got a brand new job. Fort Collins High School, where I was just from, the director before me had it for 36 years. His name is on the building. Yeah. Wonderful man. Turned into a great friend of mine. And he called me, because I was in South Carolina. He called me and said, "Do you want my job?" I said, "No." Who wants that job? You know, where did he talk to me? Of course I wanted the job. It was phenomenal kids. Last year I had a violinist 2 years in a row. She's gone to Meadowhouse. Cellist who made the National Orchestra. It's that kind of a program that it just had a rich history. And yeah, you know, you can put all kinds of literature in front of kids like that. So yeah, I like that. You know, he called me and said, "You want my job?" So I said, "Okay, yeah, I'm interested in this job." Why did I start telling the story? I have a brand new job and I'm on the podium and I'm going along and I'm doing my thing and I turn the violins and I meant to say, violins, you got to hang on to that pitch for every beat. Violins, you got to hang on to that. You know what I said? I could not believe I said that. Because I don't curse. And there it was. And, you know, the kids' eyes were that big. What do you do at that point? Laugh. You might as well, right? It's good to laugh at yourself and the silly things that you do. It makes you human. I'm just a human. I'm just a guy. I'm a teacher, right? It makes you human. You're not any more important than those kids. It helps you be engaging to them. And so if you struggle with humor, think about Seinfeld. Watch some episodes. It'll help. It just laughs about everyday life. So being engaging is knowing your art forms. I realized after a while, man, the only thing I do with these guys is notes and rhythms. I'm so tired of notes and rhythms. You know, there's such thing as phrases. There's such thing as dynamics. There's such thing as articulations. And you know what? If this whole tune really stinks because we're having a struggle with notes and rhythms, we're going to get the last phrase. We're going to make it awesome. You know, so know your art form and understand that is very engaging to kids. That's why they're in it anyway, isn't it? That's why you're in it. Because you enjoy shaping phrases. You enjoy doing those things. So knowing your art form. It helps you to be engaging. Also, it helps you to be engaging if you know your subject, which is music. Know your subject. It's really cool when you can talk about, I'm doing a March Slav with the university. It's incredibly programmatic music. It's really cool to talk about, Slavs were being oppressed by the Turks, and it was the Russians that came and saved the day. And the first two melodies are all minor and sad, and then here's the Russians. And it's really weird. He uses clarinets. I don't know, but he does. And it's a cool little melody. Know your subject. Know something about theory. Be able to talk about it. And I'm really glad that I taught AP theory for years, because I had a college kid come up to me and he spelled out this chord, and he's, what is that chord? I gotta have this figured out. It was a German augmented fifth chord. And I was really glad I taught theory, because I was able to it's been a long time since I've been in school, and I was able to break that down for him, and that helps you be engaging. I mean, the only reason he walked up to me is because he thought I would know something about it, right? I'm engaging, and so for those kids, being able to talk about stuff. Do your best to be a decent conductor. And you don't have to be incredible conductor. I just think being even just a little bit expressive is incredibly helpful for those kids. And like you, just like me, honestly, I think I had one semester of conducting. That's just our curriculum. I had one semester of conducting. And so everything I did, I took in that class. It's really kind of all you need to know, truthfully. I really believe that. The rest of it is, I've seen bad conductors have great groups. You know why? They can rehearse really well. And the kids learn not to watch them. I'm serious. I am very serious. But you know what? With just a little bit of being able to conduct a little bit better, it helps them be expressive. And so that's engaging. When you can just put that beat right there. They're, look at you. It's there. It really helps, again, that whole idea of being engaging. I could talk about this for a whole class, only because it was my dissertation, but using figurative language is really, I think it can revolutionize your teaching. And so I define it as anything that a teacher uses to creatively express something. To creatively express something. And that can be through your language, mostly through your language. It can be through an activity. Think about this. Think about your undergrad and learning and everything. What did you learn? You learned a lot about music. You learned some playing string stuff. You learned all that kind of stuff. What did you learn about teaching? Did you ever learn about how to say, how to explain a quarter note? I thought about that when I needed to write a dissertation. I thought, well, who are my all-time favorite teachers? Richard Fuchs. That man used, and I defined it as figurative language. He used figurative language in everything. Whether it had to be a technique, it was music, it was everything. And he was an absolute master at it. So I studied novice teachers and master teachers. And I just simply tallied the number of times they used figurative language. For example, I want you to play the staccato notes like you're touching the top of a hot stove. Just very lightly, very little. That's figurative language. To break yourself away from just being analytical and thinking about it in a creative way. That's figurative language. Or I asked another teacher what they remembered about their teachers, and it always came to this. It was so interesting. And I had one guy who had been out of high school 15 years. He said, we played this piece, he was a bad guy. We played this piece, and it was some pompous march, royalty, all of that. And my director, it was the day of the concert, my director started it. He went out, it was on the stage. He went off the stage, he put on a choral robe, and he went and he got a Burger King crown. Stuck that on his head, and he walked into the auditorium while we were playing this march, because he was trying to get us to play it more regal, more pop. And he walked down, and I started doing this in the hallway. He said by the time he got to the stage, we were laughing so hard. He said, I never forgot that. And we played it differently. We played that differently. And that's figurative language. I think you should tape to your stand. It is like, just jog your memory. By the way, it's fun to teach this way because it's incredibly, talk about improv. It's incredibly improv. You can come up with stuff ahead of time, but what you find is a real joy is to stand there in front of kids and say, just like, And think about it. You know, it's like this. And it's a fun way to teach. Especially if you're finding teaching to be mundane. It's not mundane at all. I had a group of kids called it Spiekerism. And for a whole year, they wrote down the stuff I talked about. I've gotten a lot of gifts. This one was a fun one. And my favorite one up there was, I love the fly fish, which is too fun. I'm like, okay. I love the fly fish. And I had kids, at the time, the fish were getting a disease called whirling disease, and only half of their tail muscles would develop. And they'd float like this, and so when you can only do that, you go in circles. So there's these fish going in circles. They say, we're learning barrelage. I want you to have whirling disease. And so they put whirling disease up there. But it's hilarious. But it can revolutionize what you say to kids. And it's also the humor part of it. It also relaxes your classroom. It also gets them to think about stuff in a different way. And I think can revolutionize your teaching. Also, how do you be engaging as a teacher so that you've got a culture in your room that kids want to learn? All this is all about. I think being authentic with kids is really important. To be authentic with kids. And I think authentic teachers have incredible environments, and that just simply means being a human being, right? Being honest about what's going on, caring deeply about music, because that's your subject matter, caring deeply about doing your best, and just being authentic with kids. You know, folks, we got a concert next week. We've been working on the spot for 2 weeks now, and I'm sorry, I'm frustrated. I'm just so frustrated. I don't feel like you're practicing this like you should be. And you know, I had a coach of all people gave me this thought several years ago. We were at a graduation party, and he knew about me, and I don't know if through kids or something, and he said, "Oh, you're a math. See, I got to tell you, I'm a little bit jealous of you." Like what? He's a track coach. He says, "You know, when I coach kids, I'm working with them, we're getting things going. But when it gets to the day, track day, and when we get to that point, you know what? I stand on the sideline. I'm not involved. You know, of course, I'm barking at them. I'm trying, I'm pumping them, but I don't run the race, do I? I stand there." And I thought, because that's really different. Because what do? I'm engaged. I am doing it with them. My whole musical career is based on 16-year-olds that have temples. I'm engaged, and it's part of what's happening. It was really phenomenal to me to really think about that. So you know what? I care that you can't play that part, because that means I can't play that part. It's the way it sounds. It's me up there too. It's not just you. We're in this together. That's kind of a neat thought. And I think it makes you authentic to be real like that with kids. Being authentic also is really caring about kids. Really caring about kids. Things are running late, so I'm going to skip just a little bit. But I have all kinds of ways of engaging kids, getting to learn their name, getting to learn the other things that they do, because music's not necessarily the most important thing in their life, right? They got all kinds of other things. I knew a director who just would not learn kids' names. That just blows my mind. You've got to learn your kids' names. You know, you've got to be able to walk into it. Now, of course, I would stumble over names. You got 150 of them, so every once in a while, I'll call Joey Jim. Sorry, I know you're Jim. You know, you do that. That's just being a real human being. But you've got to know just simple things like that. Ask them how they're doing, how things are going, because it's not always starry. It's not always doing great. And really caring about them. I had a kid who, getting to know him, and class, he's a greaseball kind of kid. He had a flare shirt, he looked like he hadn't taken a shower in weeks, and it was the first day of school, and I said, "How you doing?" He goes, "Oh, not so great." I said, "Why?" He says, "Well, summer wasn't very fun. My mom doesn't like me, and my boss doesn't like me." "Well, why does your mom not like you and your boss don't like you?" He says, "Because I'm a bastard." I don't remember what I said to him because I was shocked. I do know I said to him the next day, I said, "You know what? I am thrilled that you're in my room. I am so excited that you're in my room. And I want you to sit with us. because I think you can do it. And I think you're going to find a group of kids here who will really like you if you work hard. And never talk like that in front of me again. You know? That engages the kid. You know what? It was really cool. I always did a symphony a year. We do different movements and different concerts. I think it's Mendelssohn. It's a cool team. Slayer, Mendelssohn. It's kind of neat. Really care about them. I want to go kind of... and know about other things that they're doing. So this was kind of fun. I'm going to pull this up. This young lady every year ran national cross country in Oregon. She'd come to regionals, she'd win state, come to regionals, go to nationals. Her name's Audrey. And Audrey was a good bass player and made it to an event at UNC one year, finally. She auditioned, she got in. And love Audrey to death. And I walked up to Audrey. And said, Audrey, I know you got, because I know, I've been talking to you. I know you got nationals, you got regionals coming up, and you just can't quit running. I get that. I said, tell you what, this was an event that was overnight. We had 2 mornings, and we had 2 overnights. And I said, I tell you what, she said, oh, I'll just go run on a treadmill in the morning. I said, no, that's not really that great. So UNC was my old school. I said, I know where a track is. I said, you want to meet with me in the morning and we'll go run? Yeah, okay, let's do that. I said, okay, 5:30. Yeah, 5:30. Okay, so she met me at 5:30 in the lobby, and we hop in our little white bus, because I was driving white buses. How many have to drive little silly white buses? Okay, I'm driving my white bus. She's on there. We go to the track, and we start running, and she's talking to me. And so I said, Audrey, you don't have to run with me, really. I know you're much faster than she. No, it's okay. So she's running with me. And you can tell, right? and she's asking me questions, like my wife does to me in the morning. I'm like, I can't do this. I'm running with you, but please, will you just, she said, oh, it's okay. You don't have to talk. I'll do all the talking for us. And she did. You like the race? So all of this stuff just came out. It was, you know what happened the next morning? We brought 4 boys with us. And went running. Did you run with me that morning? No. That's fine. But I tell you what, that got back to the group. You know what? I really care about you. I know that there's other stuff going on in your life, and I know you need to keep this up. So I'll do this with you. Just sharing your life with kids and with them is an incredible thing to really have that sense of community of what's going on. Remember, it's your responsibility. Learning environment is your responsibility. So sharing your own life, I'm going to just kind of this. I get to do some cool things like I do a camp in Germany. This building is something like 750 years old. It's ridiculous. Anyway, and I get to bring some of them with me at times, but just sharing the opportunities that you get to do. I also went to Haiti. Our church was working with an orphanage, and so I brought a school violin. Trust me, not my own. I brought a school violin. Some of these kids have never seen a violin. Never heard of one. Never seen one. I brought a violin, and it was a summer project. You could tell I'm just hot. They weren't breaking a sweat at all. I'm dying. Kind of like Tucson. Oh, goodness. It's hot. And so anyway, I brought that back. You know what I did on the first day of school? I didn't do rules. I didn't go through the packets. They're tired of hearing me say that. You know what I did? I showed them pictures. And I talked about a really neat project I did. And then our Trian group, we always did a concert that was a fundraiser for something in the community. They fundraised for the orphanage. It was kind of cool. So one of my projects turned into one of their projects. And then I'll leave you this little part with this. I just absolutely enjoy what I do. I really do. I absolutely enjoy what I do. It's infectious when you're like that. I'm intense, don't get me wrong, and I'll really get on kids, and I'll be in your face, because why? It's important to me. I'm standing up and doing this with you. But I also take moments and just really enjoy what you do. And I always kind of make it, if I don't have a really good belly laugh every week or every other week, then something's wrong. I should be doing something else. And the same thing with the kids. I mean, if we just hoot and holler because it worked out this way or something, it's fun. And again, it's a fabulous profession that we have. So your enthusiasm will be infectious. It'll create an environment that kids want to be there. They want to be there. And consequently, they want to learn. You get to be involved in life. Here's a paradigm shift for me. I used to think I'm going to go teach them music. I used to think that. And then I realized it's not about teaching them music. It's about teaching them Suzuki. It's about teaching them to be a person, a really good person. And I just happen to have the best subject on the planet, which is music. That's what Gladys don't do math. I can't be that excited about math. I'm glad that there's teachers that are, and some are. But I have the best subject to talk about. And you can work into people's lives in a really, really powerful way because you happen to teach music. And that was a great paradigm shift for me. And then consequently, they want to do well. And then what happens? You got yourself a stellar group of kids in front of you. All right, lunch is ready.
Before you break, well, I'm going to capture that chord of nature right there and write on it. We have a guest here to just say a few things to you. Renee St. Blaise, the president of AMEA.
Yes. And I promised to be really quick, but I want to say I was listening to your last few comments, and my colleague who teaches with me has been absent sick for the last couple of days, and I've had a sub. And the sub commented, different sub both days, commented on how different it was to sub in the arts area where kids are really motivated to be there, and how exciting that is to watch those kids as opposed to the math classes and science classes. So I think that really struck home when you said that, because we do have an amazing profession to work in. I am lucky enough to be the president of the Arizona Music Educators Association in the year that it's celebrating its 75th anniversary. And I know many of you attend our annual in-service conference each year, but I'm just here to briefly extend an invitation to you this year to attend. We do offer special